Hello everyone and welcome back to another DrAce video, and welcome to round 8 of our Moto2 career mode. It's time for the Kazakhstan GP. It is the Sokol International Racetrack. Now of course we will be starting from a rather decent position. I won't lie to you, I didn't put too many lap times in here, but as you can see, not bad. We're starting from the third row. So here we go then, from the middle of the third row. One of our worst qualifying in a while, to be quite honest with you, but we'll wait for the red lights to disappear and away we go. Now I don't know what to expect in this one here today. I didn't do many lap times in qualifying, just enough to secure a particular position so we could then crack on with the race, and I must confess it's going already rather well. We're up to 4th place, that's 4 positions gained already as we now try and attack Joe Roberts on the left-hand side going into turn 3, and now for the right-hander up on the inside of Marcos Ramirez. Look at that. Beautiful move over the inside there, scything my way through. We're up to 2nd place in the early stages of today's Grand Prix. 18 laps to go and we're already up to 2nd. This smells danger for the competition. Alonso Lopez leads, and it's another pole position for the number 21. He's absolutely nailing the qualifying at this early stage of the career mode. Bit deep there for us going into the left-hander of turn 7, and now we're on the cusp, we're on the precipice, on the edge of catching back up to get through. Oh, I actually lost a bit of time there to Alonso Lopez. The gap has come down to Ramirez behind us and increased for the other OnlyFans American racing rider. Now I will tell you, in this one we have had a upgrade on the motorcycle. The bike feels much quicker, but also the other teams do as well. As you can see on the right hand side of your screen, that is the new Teams Comparative. We have charged our way up the order now, no longer one of the worst bikes in the grid, but one of the best. Aiming to see more from Dennis Chu. Haven't yet, he was in qualifying 2 I do believe, so he mustn't be too far behind, but he is not there in the top 8, so I'm hoping he can manoeuvre himself up into the top 10, hopefully top 8. As Alonso Lopez, whoa, where's he going? Someone give him a ticket to get back into the circuit. I think he was in the car park there. Well, he's absolutely flummoxed that lead then, hasn't he? Thank you very much. I'll get back to my point regarding Dennis Chu. So yeah, if he's going to get some decent points, we could still fight for the team's championship. So far, I'm doing pretty much the lion's share of the Red Bull KTM IO team. And I would like to make it a little bit easier upon myself if Chu would give us a bit of an assistance. So eyeing up our 4th victory this season, or 5th is it? 5th victory I believe it is, in this prime spot here in the excuse me, I was going to say Sachsenring then, in Sokol. Now of course Sokol cancelled in real life MotoGP, so we won't actually see this wonderful circuit of Kazakhstan, as we now go under the bridge for the 2nd time of asking, and we have an 0.8 of a second advantage. Alonso Lopez not able to claw the gap. Are we going to see a similar situation to what we've seen in Mugello a few days ago? Now that race was a little bit messy for my standards. I was still getting used to the feeling of the control. Oh, a little bit loose upon the brakes going into the right-hander there for turn 10. But we're alright. Nothing to panic about too much, just one of those small twitches you do have to accept during a hectic race here in the Moto2 class. So onto the power. Our lead has eclipsed to 2nd for the first time. Now I am curious to know, is Alonso Lopez going to make that same mistake again going into turn 1, or is that clearly just a minor error? 0.9 of a second is the gap, so I don't think he made it that time, but I am going to make an executive decision here. I spoke about it in Mugello, and I'm going to do it now. I'm going to drop the power down to power setting 2, just to see how close the competition can be with the 2nd option rather than 3rd. I feel we could have something very similar to what we did in Valencia, where we had in Moto 3, where I tried to keep dropping the power down to try and make it close competitive. I'm hoping that will be the ticket here, but I'm hoping I won't need to then go back into power setting 3. That was one of my biggest complaints with doing that video in Valencia, was I had to bounce back between the 2, where in the older games, as long as you reduce the power to like 1 or 2, you could stay competitive with the AI and you could keep it close. I'm wondering if this is not going to work here in Sokol, because we're down to power setting 2. 0.4 of a second is the gap now to Alonso Lopez. He is going to close in quickly, but if he makes that same mistake into turn 1, it could balance itself out to make this video fun. But if not, it's going to be a demolition job for myself, where I'll just continue to try improving the lap times. Let's try it first before we count anything out. I mentioned it in Magello, the video a few days ago. I didn't want to just lead the race and just dominate each and every time. I don't find that as fun, and I'd rather at least make a race of it rather than nothing at all. Into turn 1, the advantage is down to 0.2 of a second, and we lost 1.8 seconds there for the reduction of power. That's a lot of time to lose in just a very short lap. So power setting 2 is clearly slower by a significant margin as we go wide into turn 4. I'm actually been able to save it a bit there. Felt like I was going a bit deeper there, but thankfully still able to turn in at the apex and get into the right-hander. Speaking of right-hander, there's another one. That's turn 5. Only losing 0.1 of a second, so our lead has stabilised. But oh, look at the speed. No, look at that. We're losing tenths on that straight. What's it going to be like when we go to this next straight? This straight is huge. Coming out of turn 8. Let's see. Out of turn 8 then. With power setting 2, we have a 0.5 of a second advantage. Our delta. Look at the delta in the top right corner of your screen. Yeah, that's not going to work, is it? Unless I drop the power for the corners and then change the power up into 3 going on the straights. Well, Alonso Lopez is probably going to get through soon, so let's see what happens before we start toying with the artificial intelligence. Now, I am on 120% AI, if you weren't sure, so I'm still trying to be as competitive as possible to keep me on the edge of our seats. Bit onto the curb there. It's very easy to make track limit warnings in this circuit. I had actually a penalty myself when I was riding in our own DrAce Academy Cup. That was in MotoGP 23. And again, we're going to be losing more time. Across the line, it's a 43.2. So 1.3 seconds slower than the lap time I set earlier on lap 2 with power setting 3 enabled. And here comes one of the OnlyFans American racing riders. It is Alonso Lopez on our tail. Marcos Ramirez has gone backwards in this one, hasn't he? I passed him on lap 1 here into turn 4, and that was for second. He's now down to 6th. Not going too well for one side of the blue garage, and that's Celestino Vietti. He went for a lunge up into the right-hander, and now onto the right-hander again. Whoa! Wow, there's a lot of speed from that Taltrans Calyx. He might be making this one too difficult. I might have to go back to power setting 3, but I'm not going to do it yet without a lunge into turn 7, but he still has the inside line. I'll try and go for the apex again for the right-hander with slipstream, with power setting 2. No, we're getting dropped. Let's go back into power setting 3 then. Let's try and keep this fair, and let's keep this close. Would really appreciate if the AI were just better, then I wouldn't have to keep dropping the fuel. That way I could just fight with them. Any straights, and I guess I can do power setting 3. And the rest of them, I should still be able to stay with them with the second power option. Now, I did take a gamble here as well today, using the double soft Pirelli rubber. Question whether that'd be a good choice, as I just narrowly touched track limits there. I have to be careful I don't start getting a bit too eager onto the power, just to try and get up to the Celestino Vietti. Now, I'd be interested to know if he does run it wide here. Could only be a problem with Lopez. No, he's wide. He is. Wow. Where are you going, sunshine? That's unbelievably wide. With power setting 3, I don't think they stand a chance. So I'll stay on 2 for now. See if Celestino can fight us again. But to be honest, if it's either going to be we're way too slow or we're much too quick, I'd rather be too fast. And that way I can just focus on doing lap times and focusing on improving the lap time and just trying to be a little bit quicker rather than being nowhere near. Hang on, there's I can hear a banging somewhere. What is that? Oh, okay. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. My cat. Let's crack on. Oh, Mr. Gear. Oh, God. Oh, it's all kicking off here in the Sokol Grand Prix. Wow. Sorry, my cat was messing around with something, and she was on this, like, I don't know what you call it, like a box, like what do you... Something you just contain items in. It's like a box, like a crate, if you will. And she was hovering on it, so it's bumping against my wall. I was wondering what the hell that was. I thought someone was knocking at my door. But yeah, sorry about that. We can get back onto it now, and Celestino Vietti has just passed us. Well, anyway, back to professionalism then. Back to being professional, get back to it, and focus on the commentary, never mind the cats anymore. So, right then. Celestino back ahead. We're on power setting 2, and I'm going to try and go around the long way. Not possible to do so there. As we dive into turn 10 together. See if we can get through now on the number 13. I'd really like to see a battle here, but I just hope he doesn't run it too deep again. I mean, Celestino and my cat's working in tandem to try and put me off here. It can't be done. We're losing a lot of time though, messing around, hitting the high rev limiter as well. Yeah, Celestino's done it again. Not as bad this time, so he might actually... Yeah, he does. He maintains the advantage going into the right-hander. So fair play to Chele, but he is going to run it deep there. I can go back on through with power setting 2. It's enough for me to still lead this Grand Prix. Marcus Ramirez going backwards now. He's down to 8th. Oh, he just fights back against Arbolino in 7th. So let's see if we can keep the lead now with power setting 2. We have a 1/10 of a second to Celestino Vietti as we lead into the right-hander. Oh my goodness! Celestino with a punt and a half. Okay then, that's it. Like Marquez kicking into gear in the Sachsenring after contact with Morbidelli. Now it's my turn to say, right then, we're going to power setting 3 and we're going to win this one by a country mile then. Oh, Aldeguer, where are you going? Joe Roberts back up at the inside. Look at this has really opened the floodgates. Battle ensued here in the Kazakhstan GP. I'm happy with this. Keep it like this. A 9/10 of a second advances to Celestino Vietti. As we go on the right side there. Oh, I made a right pig's ear of that one, haven't I? Joe Roberts got the inside line. He doesn't take it. As our championship lead is actually taking a few points loss against Fermin Aldeguer, the man, of course, Ducati bound next season. As we launch into the right hand side again, that was really close to track limits. I was surprised not to see it pop up on the screen. Aldeguer looking a little bit loose upon the left-hand side there. So Vietti, Lopez, Aldeguer, myself. Roberts, his teammate Guevara. Arbolino, Ramirez is your top 8. But even with that contact, it was still better than the other lap before. Oh, come on, lads, stop doing that. I want to have a race. I can't race you guys if you're just going to keep taking the mickey going into that corner. They're absolutely woeful in that corner. I'm amazed I didn't get a track limit warning there because that definitely looked like I went over the white line. Onto the right-hander, still with power setting 2 then. Let's see if we can still keep it close. I want to just go for it, but at the same time, there's a part of me that thinks if I stay in power setting 2, it could still be fun. And look at that for a retaliation up on the inside of Fermin Aldeguer. We now have second. Fermin uses the power of the Triumph 765 to occupy position 2. Run it a bit deep there, Fermin. Oh, got in my way a little bit. Not a lot we could do, but I'm going to need power setting 3 for this part. No doubt. No point to trying to mess around with power setting 2 here. I must confess, though, I thought about this a few days ago. I really did feel that when we receive the upgrade for our bike that it would be too easy, and I'm worried now for the rest of the season. I think we could very well see myself starting from the back of the grid in the upcoming Grand Prix. I think it's much more interesting that way. But I seen a comment last time regarding starting from the back of the grid, but only make clean overtakes. Try not to force yourself through. So I'll try that for the next Grand Prix, which I do believe is Assen. I love that circuit, so if there's anywhere to start from the back of the grid, it's definitely Assen. And if I'm not mistaken, that's where we started from the back of the grid in Moto 3. So that should be extra special in one of the greatest circuits in the world. Vietti wide. Aldeguer wide. I was a little bit wide there as well, and in fact they both got track limit warnings. They must have really taken the mickey on that one. Oh, well, there's Celestino. A little bit of a glitch there. Did you notice that? It seemed like Celestino moved around. I don't know what that was. Maybe just a subtle graphical glitch for my side. But a 1/10 of a second found on the sector time. Can Vietti fight back? It's bizarre to say this, but I really hope he does. I want a battle. Taio Forasato here in Moto3 last season was terrific. He pushed me to the limit. And yet nobody is pushing us at all here. We're finding time just by staying on the highest power option. We're about to see 10 laps of domination, I think. I really don't feel they're going to be able to get anywhere near us now. That could be the key moment of this Kazakhstan GP. 0.3 of a second in the back pocket compared to the Delta. Momentum is absolutely building now, isn't it? I really don't think anyone can come close to us, so I think I'm going to make the executive decision then. I'm just going to focus on lap times now. I'm just going to absolutely go for it. We've had a bit of messing around with the 120% AI. They clearly can't live the same pace as we do. I do feel if they weren't messing around in turn 1, maybe they'd be a bit closer, but let's just absolutely send it. Look at that. Our first lap since lap 2 using power setting 3 has resulted in a 141.386. I wasn't able to see what lap times we could do in the practice because it was all wet. So I don't know what my potential is around this circuit, but I would imagine in just one lap of getting back to power setting 3, there's no reason we can't be looking at a sub 1 minute 40 lap time here, or a sub 41 should I say. And it's going really well, and I must say, I think I've said this a few times now, but I need to say it again. I really didn't like this circuit in MotoGP 23, but my opinion has just completely changed the circuit. I'm beginning to enjoy it. It feels so good with the smaller category bikes in MotoGP 24. It doesn't feel too bad in MotoGP class, it feels alright. I noticed when I was in Germany I did do some lap times with Fabio Di Gianantonio in the airport whilst I was just waiting on the Steam Deck, and yeah, Sokol felt ever so strange, but that was more so the difference feeling of the Steam Deck controls compared to the DualSense on the PS5 for my PC. So yeah, I felt ever so strange, but I didn't really give enough credit to Sokol then, and my goodness, we're finding even more time on this lap, and it doesn't even feel like I'm pushing. Ah, no. Track limit warning. I felt like I went too wide, too tight then. Oh well, if we do get a long lap penalty, I guess it'll only keep things interesting, but we're about to find enough time here, or just not enough, to get a sub 1 minute 41. A 1 minute 41.086 is close enough. 87,000th of a second away from being, what, 3 seconds quicker than we were when we were fighting with Celestino? It's night and day difference. Absolutely night and day. I am concerned that now we've upgraded. Well, I didn't upgrade the bike. KTM IO did. But this game just seems to be too easy compared to what we've had in MotoGP 23. The 120% difficulty in MotoGP 23, especially for Moto 2, was unbelievable. More so because the player would struggle with fuel. And since they removed that fuel, or at least the need of having to reduce the fuel, you just win by a large margin. Let's hope when we get to the MotoGP's Premier class that we do struggle and we suffer and we have to fight for every single point finish we get. I know it seems a bit backwards for a player to think that way, but I just like to be challenged. It's more rewarding for me to not be as successful immediately and to fight and to work our way up the ranks rather than just being the instant success. I might be alone in that thought, but let me know what you think. Are you feeling the same way as I do? Do you like the challenge, or do you just want to win no matter what it is? Because so many years of MotoGP games, I've been the rookie, I've won in every single class, and by the Premier Class victory, you kind of just feel like it's over. I want to keep growing, I want to keep getting better at the game, I want to keep challenging myself, and this is a prime example of pushing to that next step, as we're now up to 140.7s here in Sokol, on lap 11. The tyres are beginning to look worse for wear. We're on power setting 3 with all the confidence in the world and setting faster and faster lap times. This is going to be an absolute dominant showing. it's a space for me now just to go for it. Doesn't matter if I get long lap penalties, doesn't matter if we get track limit warnings, doesn't even matter if we crash. Being ahead by that much would still result in a cushy number for us, which will result in 25 championship points. But I do fear now that Fermin Aldeguer is falling behind. Not by his own admission, not by his own lack of performance, simply just because they cannot stop the number 47. This would be back-to-back winning ways. Last time out in Mugello, we had a dominant performance. The last time we went on a winning streak, we won 3 races in a row until finishing on the podium. Is this going to be the start of another winning streak to go into Assen in the next video? You know what? Yeah, I'm thinking about it, right? I'm going to record this one after this, so anyway, so I'll start from the back of the grid in Assen. Spoiler alert for the video coming whenever. I'll start from the back of the grid, 120% AI. We'll see if we can still win from being so far down on the grid. We're now into left-hander for turn 12, onto the power. We've got the speed, but it will not be an improvement on the lap time, but it should still keep us within the 140s. That's good. So still very much on it. Gap is 5.7. Let's see what happens when they go into turn 1. The gap is 5.6, 5.8, 6.1, 6.3. They lose such a large amount of time just by being absolute buffoons for braking so late into turn 1. What are they doing? The artificial intelligence certainly needs a bit of intelligence, let's say. I was really positive in thinking that the adaptive AI, the 120% AI, would keep me on my toes for this career mode, but sadly it hasn't just yet. The likes of Le Mans and the race afterwards, it was all so intense in Catalonia as well. We were able to fight with the AI and just really be pushed to a new limit. Here we're pushing them to a limit that they cannot comprehend, as Alex Escreege has been given a track limit warning. Well, I guess now is a great opportunity to start discussing the future of MotoGP in the sense of our career mode. Of course, I have declared my interest to move up to the Premier class. Really curious to see what motorcycles we get. I don't know what selections is possible. I spoke to 100k Blade recently. He said he had Trackhouse, the LCR Castrol Honda, or possibly the Idemitsu Honda, and the Gas Machinery. Now, out of those 3, I'd probably want to go with the Trackhouse because that's the only bike I've not used in a career mode since 2021. So that would be cool to use the Aprilia. But as I mentioned last time, I'd really like to get the Monster Energy Yamaha. I think that would be really cool. Either the Yamaha or the Honda. I think that would make the story just so good, because we'd be under that cosh or that challenge of having a very disappointing, undesirable motorcycle, and then we're going to try and make it something rather special. So I do look forward to the promise of having a weak motorcycle to try and improve for the Premier class. So we'll see when we get there, but if it's those 3, I'd probably choose the Aprilia. But I do feel that could be a little bit too strong for my tastes for the beginning of our MotoGP 24 MotoGP career. We'll see when we get there, as we run it a bit deep there to turn 6, as we're pretty much just on autopilot now around the Kazakhstan GP. I do hope I'm still keeping you entertained at this stage of the Grand Prix. If I am, let me know in the comments section down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe as well. But yeah, let's take a look on the right hand side of the screen then. On there I will put on the I did the team comparisons earlier, I think I mentioned it in the video. So let's talk career movement in Moto 2 right now. Riders on the right hand side of your screen, you can see who's going up and who isn't, and for the rest who's just changing teams. Might include Moto 3 in there, but I'll focus on MotoGP as well. I think the last time I looked it said Pecco Bagnaia was going to Aprilia or something like that, and Marco Bezzecchi, I think it said he wanted the Ducati. I think I remember that, but I did see somewhere that Fermin Aldeguer might be going up to MotoGP. So yeah, I'll leave that on the right hand side of your screen. Hopefully it's big enough for you to see. If it isn't, let me know and I'll post it somewhere else so you can see. But yeah, speaking to future Matt when I'm editing this video later, reminder, put that on there so that the aces can see when they're watching the video. I'd usually leave a note, but I'm a bit busy for that right now. Of course, after the shock of having the cats interrupt me earlier. Now, you might have already seen the video I did yesterday, which would have been, what, the Moto E race. I've got another video to do soon as well, because I want to talk about the number 54 behind us, Fermin Aldeguer. I don't know if I've dropped this video already or released it, because I'm trying to schedule the content, as you know. But yeah, Fermin Aldeguer going to Ducati next season. I'm going to talk about that in a future video, because I think it's a very interesting topic to discuss. And I wanted to include a few more topics as well. I've got the list to do as well from the requests of videos. Riders and teams you want me to use for upcoming videos. I've got that list handy, so I'll make sure to do that as well. But for now, back to the action. Here on lap 15, our gap is extending to double digits. At the end of this one, we could very well and truly be 10 seconds adrift from the competition as I get another track limit warning. Into the left hand. Oh, tight again to the apex. Could have almost had another little bit of a warning there as we now cross the line. Bad lap time for me. It's a 141.6, so the soft tyres are beginning to give up. Even though it does feel like we're losing time within the corners, it doesn't feel as slippery or as greasy as it did in Mugello when I recorded that one. That one felt really loose, like the bike was just struggling to turn and struggling to get stopped. This one just seems to be losing time in the Ooh, okay. Bit of a scare. Maybe it is beginning to affect us now. We are at that point where degradation begins to really rise its ugly head. And we are dropping beneath the font of the F and the R on the tyres. So excuse me, sorry. I choked to my tongue there. Too busy to stop now, so we've got to keep on going. But yeah, I was just looking at that there. Front and rear tyres, yeah, the soft Pirellis. They're actually identical, aren't they? Very, very close. So we've not abused either the front or the rear any more than the other. I think we're actually pretty good on the tyres. I think that's one of my key strengths of playing in MotoGP 24. I don't tend to stress the motorcycle too bad and still manage to be quite quick. I would probably put that a lot down to just being quite gentle upon the brakes and feathering the throttle. I try not to let the tyres spin too much. And you might notice in the bottom right corner of your screen when I can't show you now, but when I'm accelerating, I tend to feather the throttle a little bit. That's when I feel the vibration of the rear tyre begin to slip, so I start to apply a little bit less throttle. And then when the grip is there and I can apply more, that's when I'll start pressing it a little bit quicker or beginning to hold the right trigger or R2 button on PlayStation 5. And that fuel has just not budged at all, has it? Plus 3.5. It's a damn shame they got rid of that. I was very sceptical when I noticed that Milestone announced that fuel would not be a problem anymore. It never was a problem. I enjoyed that aspect of trying to balance the power throughout a Grand Prix. Now that they remove that, I think it's a damn shame, I really do. And I think that we're seeing the effects of it in this year's career mode. But nonetheless, with rider transfers and the bikes feeling as good as they do with a terrific selection of tracks, I don't doubt that we're going to do plenty of seasons in the Premier class. I think if I was playing on my own, I'd possibly do another season in Moto 2. I like the idea of going up as a double Moto 2 world champion, a bit like what Johan Zarco did, or what Tito Rabata tried to do. I like the idea of that, and I think more riders should do that in MotoGP nowadays. Like, for example, if Ayagora wins this season, I would wait another year to see what the development of the Honda is first before moving up. I think they're telling him it's his last chance anyway, but we'll see. I think Ayagora is good enough on his own anyway to get a ride, not just because he's a Japanese rider. But I'll digress for that for now, because I think that's a topic for another day. And we're only a lap and a half away. In fact, just pretty much a lap now, as I just cut the corner again there. Track limit warnings coming in for the man on your screen. Have to be careful now as we go over the line. Not a bad lap time. Managed to stabilise it right at the end there as we go a little bit loose going into turn 1. Call me Celestino Vietti. I've gone wide into turn 1, making that same mistake as he did in the early stage of this Grand Prix. Same as Alonso Lopez as well. I wonder if Lopez and Ramirez, I wonder if they burned up their tyres, because they've gone backwards in this Grand Prix. Not a strong showing for the... Oh my god! Wow. Oh wow. I don't know what happened then, I just lost my concentration. My god. Just a tiny bit too throttle. What was I saying like not 2 laps ago about being gentle? Christ almighty, that could have been it for sure. That would have been very embarrassing. Talking about burning up the rear tyre. Oh god. Anyway, we can rest easy now because we're just, what, 4 or 5 corners away from victory. So not too bad. It's going well. I've enjoyed this one. I sincerely hope you guys have done as well. Thank you very much for watching, of course. And we'll finish up this video in high spirits with 11 plus seconds on the time. Unbelievable. Absolutely fabulous. I'm going to finish this one and chuck a pizza in, I think. I've got one in the fridge. It's been thawing out. Celebrate with a wheelie and a pizza. I can't get it to wheelie. Bit of a break. Come on. I don't know how to wheelie these Moto2 bikes. I really try. Guys, we've won it. We've done it again. Back-to-back wins for the first time since Jerez, I would say. So, quick screenshot. Oh, no! Because I was messing around with the wheelie, I lost a couple of tenths, so we didn't win by 10 seconds in the end. Oh, well. That's a shame. So, Aldeguer and Arbolino, they finish on the podium with me. And we extend our championship lead to now 34 points ahead of our closest competitor, Fermin Aldeguer. Looking pretty solid if I do say so, but I am really curious to see the team's championship. Have we overtaken them? Ah, not quite. I guess Dennis Onchu didn't do me enough of a favour. 3 points behind, we'll get him. Guys, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. See you tomorrow for more content. Ciao for now.
Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite set your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.